It is your Wednesday night sports delight, the platform sports talk show. I am your boy Smooth.
And I'm Stanton, baby, fresh out the chair. Haircut. What? Y'all get the waves next week. They got a bake right now. 375 Fahrenheit.
Watch out now.
Until golden brown. Even though my hair is black.
Because when it's about sports,
it becomes our business. Just picked up.
What's going on with you, brother?
Man, I got to get used to this. I will never know when the camera's pointed at me again, huh? Right. This is crazy.
It is different.
Dang.
It is different.
You look crispy. I like it.
Yeah,
I
man.
like the way it look.
So, yeah, another Wednesday. Thank y'all for tuning in. For those watching for the very first time, this show has been going on strong for 3 years, consistently every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
May do a special every now and then, who knows, but majority of the time, it's a night. So thank you for tuning in. If y'all on YouTube right now, thank you very much. Make sure y'all subscribe, click on that.
Bam!
Because anytime we go live,
you will be notified.
On Twitter, hit that like and retweet. Facebook, share, support.
I don't know how I was like, I don't know how you do it on Twitter. I ain't never watched it on Twitter before.
And then, of course, for those who, if you don't already, follow us on Instagram. What is it? At Platform Sports Talk. So
yep.
There it is. So other than that, man,
MySpace handle? No.
Nah.
Not
you know what? I was thinking about like a Black Planet.
Wow. I don't have a comeback for that.
So for those who didn't see you last week, man, how you been doing?
I've been better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not good right now. I don't think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
But I'm here, and we talking about sports. Because if I get into the other stuff, we gonna be here for a while.
And I have a feeling that maybe on the final say, a lot of stuff may be said, but we shall see. But I do want to start off outside of the most recent news. But 2 weeks ago or last week, we lost the WWE icon in my book, Shad Gaspard from Crime Time. They had like the best signature handshake move in the game.
I did that. That was a handshake between me and a friend of mine. Summer camp.
Oh man, I used to love doing that.
2008, going into my freshman year of high school. It was so cool.
Man, I used to just love doing that, man.
When I heard the news, I was like, "Are you?" Like I had to read it twice.
Like it can't be real. And then as soon as they said, the Tide pulled him under. Well, first when I heard that, he said, "Hey, save my son first."
That's
it's like that just shows how much of a man he was. Then you heard about the Tide pulling him under. It's like, it doesn't matter your size. Water will control you. And like, you hope for the best. But, unfortunately, he didn't come back from that. But he died a hero and being there for his son. And a huge part, like I said, to the WWE at the time. Crime Time. I know JTG. I know he's going through a whole spiel, man.
A lot of them are, man.
Man, it's tough. But prayers up to his family. And once again, we may speak about it later on during the final say. Get our thoughts, if need be, in regards to what happened in Minnesota. So much to discuss if it gets to that point throughout the show. But, man, we have a great show in store. Just once again, we keep on just getting great guests after great guests.
Yeah.
Great guests. A few weeks ago, we had Ryan Johnson in, and him and B. Baker, they know each other so well, so they was able to connect. And then you had Marlon on Whitfield a few weeks ago.
Man, I missed that show. I was like,
yeah, that was a great show. The last week, Misha Morrow. So we just touching all different avenues. And, man, we bringing more championship pedigree to the
definitely.
show, and to find out. Once Stanton arrived, y'all, that they got a little history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we gonna get it.
They got a little history. So we'll definitely dig into that. But going back to, let's start off with the roundtable, should I say.
Yeah.
Before we bring in our special guests. So, your thoughts on Mike Tyson. How he got from years of looking overweight, and now he's looking like he's ready to fight. Thoughts on that? Can you take him serious?
I bet you we not hearing another Mike Tyson joke again.
Man.
I guarantee you that speaks to the type of athlete you have to be to go from where he was. Like, at one point he was extremely out of shape.
Yes.
Like, it was bad for him to go from that all the way to 230 just for a charity fight.
Yes.
I think that's the thing going around. I think it was confirmed that he's fighting a rugby player.
Now, they had a rugby player, then they had Tito Ortiz from mixed martial arts. Now they're saying possibly Tyson Fury. So I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen.
Tyson Fury. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Deontay Wilder just to get that out the way. Just to see what that'll be like. You know.
If Deontay don't wear any like 40-pound
my legs, I lost my legs halfway through the fight entrance.
I was heading there and I don't know what happened.
I was in there, my legs wasn't with me.
All them kind of excuse. No, we don't want to hear it.
I was here, my legs when in Texas. I don't know what was going on.
We don't want to hear it. Once again, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Feel free to comment throughout the entire show if you have any questions or you want to debate anything. We got you. This is what this show is for. It's a platform to get your views across.
Yeah.
I'll save the NHL talk for Joe Knows for next week.
All right, so I finished The Last Dance. Like, I finished the whole thing. So as far as I'm concerned, the GOAT talk is Mike and then the coin flip for Kobe and Brown, and whatever happens.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's part of our segment tonight too. So
because they always
get into that. Oh yeah, they all try to go ahead and bring someone else into the fold.
So those are the three. No matter which way the three fall, just know that those are the three. Well, the two, because Mike at the top.
Right.
Just know those are the two.
So sticking with the NBA, they're talking about having everything happen pretty much in Orlando at Walt Disney. And I mean, they got the facilities, they got a lot of space and opportunity to make things happen, all the hotels in the world. So looks like they may be just having one central hub, which would be more than likely in at Walt Disney. They may have these teams in groups. I think they said 24 teams, and the best of the 12 would be, the best, 12 each on each side. And they'd be facing off until we get to, the winner.
I say that we just we adopt what the NHL is doing. Like when they're saying when they come back, just right into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Because y'all got to make up. Like it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you got to keep it going because it's gonna throw off everything after that. Mm. You just got to keep going. Like right now will be what, playoff time?
Oh yeah.
Just start.
Playoffs in hockey and basketball at this exact time. So we'll see, man. Just been a lot of discussions. You hear the NBA GM saying this may go down, then the players saying, no, it ain't going down. So there's no word yet, but hopefully they get some kind of resolution from the owners and the players, and they can get things going and get some basketball rolling as well. But in the same token, I understand if players are being hesitant still because there still hasn't been an answer for COVID-19.
And then at that point, football is like, not football, dear Lord. Basketball, there's... I remember back when I was in like middle school, high school, all the reports like playing basketball, staph infection, this, that, and that.
Yeah.
Just these small infections, just from small cuts. But now you're dealing with something like, the coronavirus, which is deadly and has been taking people out. Mm-hmm. So, I understand they're conflicted. They want to play, but at the same time, they want to be healthy too.
Right.
So it's...
What are your thoughts on Dame Lillard and what he said the other day?
I don't even know what he said.
So
I stopped listening to Dame Lillard.
He said that
after he made a rap song against Shaq.
He said that if they do decide to come back, if he feels that the Blazers aren't going to make it to the playoffs, then he'd rather not just play. He'll join the team, but he won't play. Because right now the Blazers are on the outside looking in, but they're close. But he's saying if he doesn't feel like this team can make it, then why risk himself by playing and putting himself out there doing the situation?
All right, cool. So once all this blows over, he's still gonna have to deal with what he said, right? Mm-hmm. So that was stupid. Mm. I feel like you just shouldn't say anything.
Alice Williams says it's all about the money in regards to the NBA. In which most companies, all these professional sports, you don't have butts and seats, and people ain't watching on TV. So they're trying to ramp up some kind of plan. And with baseball, it's really a mess.
Oh yeah, the
It's
season
really a mess with that.
We would have been well off into the season at this point, like at least a month in.
Almost 3 months in, because it would have started
Are you
in late April,
considering?
and then you got May and then June coming up. So it would have been almost about 2 months and 2.5 months in. So, but yeah, and she also said they need to be able to test everyone daily, and it has to be the ones that give an answer the same day. So for what I've been seeing through all the sports, it won't be you get tested every day, but maybe like twice, 2 or 3 times a week you get tested. But my concern is, what if this is like actually the new normal, this COVID-19? If it's something that it just won't even go away, it's going to be part of life now. And it's kind of like that, only the strong can survive kind of thing.
I don't think it's going to be like that. I think with time and the technology, they will find a vaccine for it. Like, I'm slightly confident that they will. Slightly.
But it's hard to have hope when you don't even have any kind of. Well, let's try this out. You don't even have that.
Maybe after a change of leadership, might get the ball rolling. Something.
Ooh, yeah, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that either.
Then Alice says, last I heard, they have trouble agreeing on salaries and revenue sharing. Well, then she says, in which I definitely agree, that's why we need a vaccine that no one can figure out. And it's amazing how you don't hear so much stuff going on in China like you heard initially.
Yeah, they figured one out.
But
they probably would have shared it with us if somebody. Anyway, yeah. So that's enough about that. Sports.
Yes. So you want to go ahead and do the honors, man, since you got some history.
Man, all right. You're just gonna make me do this. All right, cool. So the gentleman that is about to join us on this show,
the champ
is a man that knows when and nothing else. And if you don't win, he ain't gonna care. He gonna go back to his hometown, sit on the lakefront, and watch some ducks. I'm gonna leave it at that. He gonna watch some ducks. So, ladies and gentlemen, the resume is long, so I'm just gonna stick right here. The Lutheran High School North football head coach, ladies and gentlemen, please, Mr. Carl Reed.
There he is.
What's going on, sir?
How you guys doing?
Going on, Coach?
Doing great.
It's great to be here.
Man.
Great to be here with you fellows.
Yeah, and definitely, I appreciate you coming. We know that it's difficult times right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could have been like, I'm gonna go ahead just chill and whatever, but you still came through. So we definitely appreciate you, and we hope all our listeners and followers, they tune in and comment and come with them great questions. But how have you been overall, Coach?
I've been good, just trying to stay busy. Obviously, we can't work with the kids right now, so just trying to keep everybody mentally focused. The kids just ended the school year online and just try to keep them focused on that.
That's what's up. So I'll go ahead and bring it up. So what are you doing to keep them engaged? So when it's time you get that call, when they get that call, they be like, okay, I'm ready to go ahead and get it in.
Well, our kids have been following a workout program regimen that our strength and conditioning coach has been giving them. And really right now, they have to be responsible for themselves. Like right now, the programs that have excellent leadership, where the kids are self-accountable, those are the guys that are going to be able to have success when this thing is behind us and we can get out there and start playing again.
Mm-hmm. So before we even get even further into everything, I got to know now, how do you and Stan know each other?
No, you don't. Next topic now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tell the story. It was my junior year of high school,
And what school was that?
At University City Senior High School, home of the Lions.
Guys, I love University City High School, too. I love the school. I love the entire community. I had a great time there, and I consider it home in some ways. I just love University City.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I do too, because I lived there for quite some time, and I love the neighborhood.
Ain't it a great place? You just might catch a squirrel and a fox gallivanting around the grass, things like that. So junior year in high school, there was a change in leadership of the football team. Everybody was happy about it. So they were like, "Hey, Josh, you should do it." I was like, "I bet I'm gonna do it." So I go in there, right? Let me tell you what happened. This man is a no nonsense man. Let me tell you what happened. There were reports that some of the students weren't doing right in class, so the whole team had to take a weight in each hand and go up all the steps in the school. And when I tell you, we would go up one end, the steps on one end, walk across, and then go up the other end and then walk across the hall. That was crazy. Calluses on my hand. And what's crazy is I knew the students that were doing it, and I just knew how they were. And I knew they weren't going to stop, and they didn't stop. And I wasn't with that. And I was considering football a good way to release a lot of pent-up aggression. Be like, I can't hit you in class, but I can hit you on the field. But I'm like, oh, y'all still going to act like dumbasses on and off the field. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to see y'all later. Coach Ricky saw me. He was like, man, you have the potential. I was like, I believe you. I just ain't had the tolerance for the stupidity. Since a young age. I've always been an old soul. I just ain't deal with it. You know, I blame that on my mama. So, yeah, that's the story. I gave him a good 2 weeks, but them kids wasn't getting it together. So that was my football career. You know, it wasn't as good as my career in the Jewish League, but hey, you know.
the esteemed career.
You know, I participate. Therefore, I am a jack of all trades. Because I did soccer in elementary school, but we're not going to talk about that. I think we talked about that on the show one time. It was a while back.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
That was it. That's the story.
That's the story.
So when I saw this, I was like, wow.
He said, I got to be
This
here.
is crazy.
Got to be here.
Well, look who's here.
That's what's up. So, Coach, let's take it back to your childhood. When did you fall in love with sports?
Well, you know, from a young age, you know, my father got my brother and I involved in playing. I played at Hazelwood, just football, just baseball, all the sports growing up, as most kids do, no different than anybody else. We played at Hazelwood Central, went on and played in college at Austin Peay State University, and went straight into coaching really after that.
So, what high school did you go to?
Hazelwood Central.
And what sports did you play?
Football.
That was pretty much
football.
it.
And I threw the shot put and track.
Okay. How was that experience?
It was cool. I mean, you know, it was a lot of great throwers then. We were very successful athletic program, and I had a good time doing it.
Nice. And then I get to college, who was some of the main people that was pushing you to strive for perfection or to be your best during your high school years?
My parents did a great job of that. We had a great coaching staff there at Hazelwood Central. We had a lot of great coaches during that time. Cliff Ice was there, John Pacula, Corey Johnson, Dr. Anthony Robinson, Norm Ryan, my head coach, was excellent. Bo Benhart, Darren Williams was there. We had a quality group of guys that led us in the right direction.
And then college, what school did you go to?
Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Austin Peay. Okay, tell us about that squad back in the day.
We were really bad. No, it's serious.
Not
we
good.
were really bad. You know, I coming from Hazelwood Central, winning the way we won, and going into that situation, we were a really, really bad football team for a long time. Actually, Austin Peay just won the Ohio Valley Conference for the first time.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, for the first time in like 50 or 60 years. We were part of a lot of losing, made some great relationships, with the guys that coached me, some of my teammates, my fraternity brothers and things like that. I had a great experience in college outside of the football, you know, and you try to educate the kids on that's also a part of the decision you have to make.
Right. Definitely feel that. And in high school and college, what position did you play?
Offensive line. I played offensive guard.
Nice. So you was known to pancake some cats.
I did, you know, I did my thing a little bit. I did.
Sit your ass down.
Were there, during the time that you played in high school, were there any particular college football players or NFL players that you try to model your game after?
Well, I don't think that you can do that. Like, I don't think that any high school kid can model his game after what those guys are doing at that level. I think that's too big of a jump. I think you just have to really work on being the best player that you can be, and that was my mindset at every phase, that I just wanted to be the best version of myself. You can want to be like one of those guys all you want, but it's a big difference in wanting to be that way and then being able to do it.
And then at the end of the day, you say, I don't want to be the next so I want to be. I want
Yeah,
to be
you want to be you.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure that's the message that you tell your players.
Yeah,
like,
just-
hey, you may like Ray Lewis or love his style, but why don't you, you know?
Ray Lewis. What? You couldn't
What?
think of anybody current?
I mean, hey, you talking about a Hall of Famer?
I mean, but you know, like somebody playing right now?
Hey, people know Ray Lewis. If you don't know,
Yeah, people know Ray
you
Lewis.
don't know sports.
Recently, they don't know him for his sports though. You know,
What they know him for?
his
What?
words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he been saying some things.
Oh yeah, I got
You
you.
know.
I got you. So I guess I'll say for Stan's sake, go ahead and give them a top linebacker right now in the game. Put you on the spot.
Are you serious?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go with my favorite defensive end, Aaron Donald. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna go with that beast of a man.
There we go. So yeah, we'll say if you want to be the next Aaron Donald, no, be the next you. So there you go. All right. So what made you get into coaching?
Well, when I got done playing and my playing career was over, I still wanted to stay connected to the game. That was it. I didn't really go into school thinking I was going to be a coach, but when it was over, it was some opportunities there. My college coach helped me get started.
Yeah, shout him out real quick.
Bill Schmitz at Austin Peay State University. He's dead now. R.I.P. to him. He was a great man. He gave me an opportunity to play college football. He helped me get my career started. I'll always be in debt to him and his family.
And once you started, what school did you coach?
I coached in Tennessee for several years, and then I went down and coached in Florida for a couple years also. So I coached at several schools in Tennessee. Main Northeast High School is the one I spent the longest time at, and I didn't come back to St. Louis. So I graduated from high school in 1999. I didn't come back to St. Louis until 2011 when I got the U-City job.
Oh, dang. So that's why he always said, if you don't like it, I go back to Tennessee and watch the Ducks.
Oh, see, it all makes sense now. It's all coming into fruition.
You think so, but that he just gonna go watch the Ducks. And I used to sit there and think, like, I don't think you understand how much that mentally messed me up. I was like, I don't even know what that looks like,
It's wild.
but I was intrigued.
It's wild.
So, in regards to coaching, was there a particular, I know you said in regards to playing wise, that it's not about mimicking someone, but was there a inspirational, I mean, not inspiration, but who motivated you as a coach?
Well, I had a lot of influences. When I started coaching, when I started coaching, Cliff Ice helped me a lot in the beginning. I actually drove down to St. Louis. Coach Ice was the coach at Webster Groves at the time, but he was one of my high school coaches at Hazelwood Central. I drove down and spent 2 or 3 days with him, and we went over the offense because you always go to what you knew and kind of what you know. And I would say my first 6 to 7 years coaching were heavily influenced individually by him and the things that he was doing at Webster Groves and the success they were having at the time, and he was winning championships. And that was kind of who I was patterning myself after, the way that he was running the program. And then every level that you step up and you get to certain points, you realize you need new things and you need different things, and you continue to learn from people. I've been blessed. Corey Johnson was very helpful to me in my coaching career. I spent a lot of time one year when I got to U-City meeting with Rick Gorzinski, who was the legendary coach from Hazelwood East, Darren Sunkett. I've spent a lot of time with Darren Sunkett, especially talking about defense.
St. Louis.
And then, and I feel like probably my biggest influence recently has been Coach Larry Walls at Sumner. You know, Coach Walls has been, I mean, I couldn't pay him enough for the knowledge and things that he gave me. Another guy is Darren Williams up in Chicago, who coached us for a little bit at Central. And I've just had a lot of positive influences in coaching and guys who've done a lot of winning.
So, how long did it take you for you to finally realize, okay, this is what I need to start doing more of? Like, I tried this, but this wasn't working. I tried that. This here is my style of coaching that I wanted to bring out to my players.
Well, that process never ends. I still don't think I have it figured out. Every year, you're going to get a new team, a new group of kids, maybe a coach changes here or there, and you got to figure out how to get the most out of that particular group of kids. What works for what makes Ronnie Perkins go doesn't work for Antonio Doyle. What makes Isaiah Azubuike play the way that he plays doesn't work for Ali Wells. So you have to constantly be reinventing yourself and constantly trying to find solutions to get the most out of each kid.
The game always evolves.
It's evolving daily.
And shout out Lil Big Perk. He was putting in work in Mizzou. I just want to say that real quick. That's UCD's finest right there.
MIZ. So
his favorite school,
man,
no matter what they do.
Man, hey, die hard. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
You've been doing that. You've been dying real hard lately.
Yeah. Don't start that, guy. That I stay out of those college discussions.
It's funny he says that, but I want to shout him out. He stays out of them, but he gets those. Right. Like I was looking at his Instagram, he had his cats going to D1 schools.
Yes,
I'm talking the Michigan States, the Auburns. When I was looking at the list, I was like, yo,
yes,
that's big.
So with that being said, Coach, how does it feel to see your players getting these offers and going to these schools? I know it has to be a proud dad moment for you.
Well, when they go and when they finish, that that I'm really proud of, that I coached at U City. You see him now. He was talking about them earlier in the show when they wasn't behaving and kind of doing things the right way. Some of them still probably had the calluses on their hands, from those weights and running the stadium. But when I think of Kylan Claiborne and George Brown and Keandre Bledsoe and Orlando Woodlands and Troy Jones and Tony Newman and Ronell Perkins and those guys, they went to college and their life is in a better place now, and that's really what it's ultimately about. But when they go to college or when they get an offer or when they sign, that's really not the time to celebrate. They just beginning and they have a lot of work to do, and when they finish it, when they get the job finished, is when it's time to give them a toast and give them their flowers while they're here. But they got to get it done, though. That's what we're here for.
Right, finish the job.
They got to finish.
Finish the job. Once again, it's the Platform Sports Talk Show. Your boy Smooth along with
Stanton, baby.
And we have special guests.
Carl Reed.
There we go.
The coach.
Representing for the 2019 Class 2 state champions from Lutheran North High School, the Crusaders.
Shout out that school. My pastor daughter go there. Well, no, went there. She just graduated.
Congratulations. And Alice Williams, her son, which is one of my best friends, Edward Williams, he actually went to Lutheran North, class of 2000.
Okay. All right. So my age.
Yeah. So, and he's currently out in traveling the world right now with his bandmate. So shouts out to Witherward. They doing big things. So, yeah, she was like, Ed's alma mater, although he never played football, he played basketball. And then So another great show as we had the champ in the building. We previously had Champ Jay a few months ago. Then once again we had Coach Ryan Johnson, who just recently won state over at Cardinal Ritter basketball team. And once again another champion in the building, in the Getaway, Coach Carl Reed Jr.
I got a question because I just got to know. Coach, what is your favorite offense?
If it's up to me, if I had my druthers, I prefer to run the ball every single play. I think that's the best.
You like Jeff Fisher.
I think that a great running game is the best way to win. But ultimately, you got to have the kids to be able to do that. And I've had some teams who could play that way, but then we've had some teams who couldn't. But I'm an old wing T guy. I believe in running the wing T, the Grambling that Coach Walls taught me. And that's kind of what I would prefer to do. But we don't always play that way. Sometimes we've had teams where we've thrown the ball a lot. We've had teams where we've run it a lot. It depends on what the kids can do. But so to answer your question, the best offense is whatever offense it takes for us to win. That's what we prefer to do.
So,
Excellent answer.
so with you saying you prefer to run, is that offensive line mentality kicking in that makes you, want to run more?
No, it's a winning mentality. So I threw the ball all the time. I mean, I came up traditionally in offenses that threw it. But as I started studying the teams that were consistently winning championships, the greatest programs in the nation at both the high school and the college level, they were really defense, and we wanted to win. And so that's why we went in that direction.
And do you feel, because I know that in the college game, it's really been about the high flying offense. How do you feel about the state of college football right now? Do you think they're slowly getting back into doing more of the run first, like the Alabamas, or is it still the Big 12 high flying is what sells the game more?
Well, the college game is still run to get the statistics of it, and you break down the real analytics of the game. The teams that are running the ball, LSU had the great quarterback and receivers, but they were still a team that was very dominant in the run game and had one of the top offensive lines in the country. And you have to build around that to have success at that level.
Got you. So we spoke earlier about the effects of the COVID-19 in regards to this thing. When everything came down and you heard about the possible cancellations of this and that, how did the team feel during that time, and are their spirits still up right now?
Well, anytime you take it away from the kids, I mean, obviously the kids are emotional because they don't understand adult things, you know. So I think it was a devastating thing with them. They lost their spring sports season. I was to Justin Tatum, who's a great friend of mine, and he lost the opportunity to compete for the state championship.
Right.
So that's a devastating deal for a guy. The kids are devastated because they don't get an opportunity to compete in baseball or compete in track. So I think that that in itself is hard, but I think there's something that's overlooked in the sports is the socialization of kids. When you took the kids out of the school, they don't have any time to socialize with their friends and have real relationships. You kind of take everything to a computer. So I think that hurts even more than the actual not being able to play for the moment, because eventually we'll play again.
Right.
So it's just a matter of when that is going to happen and how long to get everything set. But yeah, I was everything that happened.
Have y'all been any type of timeline that maybe around July you start doing this?
I don't have any idea, when they're going to let us return, and we just sit back and wait on an answer. I'm sure there'll be some communication, the middle to beginning of June, I would just think. And the state has communicated with us throughout this entire process, but I got to start playing again.
Got a few comments here off of Twitter from Rags No Riches. Says it's a cold world even when it's hot outside. Coach Reed is the GOAT. Then we have Vincent Rucker says ZOU when I said MIZ earlier. So got another Mizzou fan there. Much respect to you.
Great group of fans. Those guys, great group of fans.
Yeah. So let's go back to your Lutheran North Crusaders. Lutheran North High School Crusaders. The joy when the clock went down and knowing that your team won a championship. How did that feel?
It felt like we needed to get ready to try to do it again. My mind, Steve was there with me. He can tell you, and he probably said something to me. My mind was already thinking about St. Mary's in week 1. I was already, my thought process was, what are we going to do to defend Kevin Coleman? We lose a couple guys in the secondary. We're losing some great defensive players. We needed to get right back in the lab and start thinking about how we needed to defend Kevin Coleman and then that spread offense that they run over there. Your mind has to work like that. You don't have time to stop and rest. Phil Jackson said on The Last Dance, the only time that you can worry about an accomplishment, you accomplish it, but you have to be able to do it again. And so anybody can win a championship. You got to be able to show that you can consistently do it. year after year and had a mindset that you can continuously answer the bell. And so when the clock hit 000, my mind was already on what we needed to do moving forward. I was right back to work on Monday, preparing for the next football season.
That's what's up. Staying ready, man. Staying ready. Yeah.
He made the Phil Jackson comment. I was saying, like, that's what got him.
Yeah.
11.
Right.
11. And then he has some
one is not enough. You know, one is not enough.
Yeah. You want to keep on tasting that championship taste.
I mean, you got to think about it. So that weekend, you know, Tatum and Tony Irons, and I spent a lot of time talking to the other champs. They have multiple championships, you know. So Tatum told me, he said, you know, you got a key to the championship house, but you still got to sleep on the couch. You know, if you wanna get at your own room in the house, you got to do it again. You know, so that's the mentality and that's the mindset.
I know you spoke earlier in regards to you have a few recruits who going to some big time schools. I know one off the top of my head was Tavion Ford.
Octavian Brown and Travion Ford.
Ford. Yeah. There we go. I know it was a huge deal that Mizzou snagged Travion Ford. What are you, now that we're talking about Mizzou real quick, what are your thoughts on the hype of Coach Drinkowitz since his time being at Mizzou? How differently as compared to the previous regime?
Well, I don't want to get too much into the previous regime because a lot of those guys are still my friends, and they're at other places. But I will say this, that Coach Drink has done an excellent job recruiting the city, and he's done an excellent job providing enthusiasm and laying out his plan. I think that anytime you're dealing with somebody in the coaching profession or in any profession that you're in, you have to be able to clearly explain to people what your vision is, and how you're going to make it work. And I think he's done that so far as good as anybody that I've dealt with in recruiting.
That's nice because I definitely feel a different energy from him compared to
A lot of energy.
yeah, and it's good. The staff that he's bringing in, you know, these guys go out there. I know there's one coach, I forgot his name. He's a brother, and they say he's like the swag guy, but he just brings a different energy to a school that needs a different identity than what they've had over the past few years. So hopefully people like Stanton won't be like, this team's dead in the water. No, this team gonna start being on the rise. So you gotta make moves.
Well, I got a lot of guys there. I mean, Ronell played there, Jack Buford is there, Travion is going. Where my kids are playing at, I want them to have massive success.
Yeah. In regards to your team, when opponents are coming to your home or you going to their place, what is something that they are going to expect to see from a coach? I mean, from a
We're gonna play defense, and we're gonna play defense, and we are gonna hit you. We're gonna make you use your shoulder pads and your helmets, and we are gonna play a very, very physical style of football, which a lot of people don't want to play anymore. But we are gonna hit you. We're gonna hit you hard. That's our mentality. You're gonna have to show us that you really want to play football.
Ooh, let me know if it's real.
Yeah.
I like that. What are your thoughts in regards to the state of Missouri high school football? Do you think now is this pretty much has been like some of the best times to really support what's going on? We're breeding a lot of stars now. Do you feel this is kind of the best time for the state of Missouri football?
Well, it's a lot of great talent. But I always tell guys, there's always been a lot of great talent.
Yeah.
You know, I go back a long way. It was great talent in the 80s. It was great talent in the 90s. There's great talent now. Social media has changed everything, so people are more aware of it. But we had guys going to the NFL and winning championships and playing at big time schools for a long time, you know, and so now people are starting to take notice of it. Mizzou moved to the SEC from the Big 12, which kind of changed recruiting and brought everybody from the SEC into St. Louis. We've had some great things happen. You get a guy like Corey Patterson who got an opportunity to go coach at the University of Illinois. Corey Bethany got an opportunity to go coach in college at Lindenwood University.
Right, I saw that.
We had great coaches. Robert Steeples did a great job building the Smets program over there, and I know he got some looks from some colleges. And so when you think about it, it's a lot of great coaches now, and what you see a lot of guys who played here that are coming back and coaching and giving back to the kids. So, and they're excited about it. So, that's a good deal. But it's a lot of great coaches right now.
And I know with you having so many star players going to D1 schools, etc., has there been that coach or coaches that you have met that you was like, oh wow, I should have met, when you first started out coaching, you're like, oh wow, this is so and so, this is amazing, or oh cool, I just met him, I want to kind of get some.
Well, yeah, they all just regular people. Like, people will be surprised. You get an opportunity to sit down with some real interesting guys, but they regular guys, just like you, just like me, just like Stanton. They working
Every
hard.
now
They working hard. And
You be the one saying the most outlandish, and you gonna put it on me? Nah. I'm surprised we ain't got canceled yet. Some of the stuff you be saying.
Oh man,
You be pushing the envelope
I don't know what you're talking about.
off the edge.
I don't know what you're talking
Then you watch it fall. Then grab it before it falls too far.
Wait, hold on, I got
And
you.
then push
I
it
got
again.
you. I got you. Hey, you gotta go out there and in the deep end every now and then, just make sure that you still can swim.
yeah.
If that's every now and then for you, I'd hate to see it consistently. There, look.
Hey, that's why I'm still swimming, baby. And it's like 3 years running and counting. We had recently the XFL. Of course, it got canned due to COVID-19 and some other issues. But were you very supportive of the XFL while it was around?
Yeah, I got to be at some of the tryouts and some of the practices. So I thought it was going to take off and do well and it was doing extremely well. I mean, COVID was out of everybody's control. I'm hoping that they can save it, and bring it back. And I know it's some legal things going on right now. Very excited about it. It was a good product, and it was very, very well put together this season.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed. We actually did part of our commercial shoot in front of the Dome, and that was actually their last game, or the last home game, should I say.
It was.
And it was just pretty sad because now you look back at it, it's like it's pretty sad because you was like, oh man, I was at the last home game. But hopefully it won't be because where it is, maybe we're going to try to bring it back.
Right.
And St. Louis is definitely going to be one of those teams.
Because it needs to
have
be.
A team. Yeah.
But it's gonna be different, I was like, man, we got a cool team right here. And though I am happy that they are finding success now in the NFL, it's like hopefully there's something that could be worked out to where if the season, since they're not happening at the same time, maybe you could play both. I don't know.
I don't know about both, but I mean,
you'll be in top condition.
Just basically saying,
24/7.
you have the option to, stay in football. Is pretty much what you're saying. And I always said this before the XFL started, and even once things started getting rolling, that the XFL should be used as a stepping stone. If you haven't been there before, to get to the NFL, you don't have to just focus on just college. That should be another avenue. So if you don't get drafted, or if you make a team but you don't make the practice team or whatever, then you have the XFL as an option, kind of like league. I know some people in the past were saying that it's a professional league, but we know that it's not like the NFL.
Yeah, and guys also need to be able to deal with life that when football is over.
Right.
They got to be able to live with that reality too. The education when they were playing college football, because part of the journey is the end.
Right. Totally feel that. So a couple years ago, they had that movie with Will Smith, the concussion, and that was a big topic back in the day. And it wasn't back in the day, but a couple years ago in NFL. How are you preaching safety? I know you said shoulder pads, helmets, etc. earlier. How are you preaching safety with the kids now?
Well, you have to teach them how to tackle and block right, but football is not a safe game. Football is the pain game, and so I think that everybody who has to play understands that there is some sort of risk involved, and for the guys who play the game, but I don't think there's any way that you can rid it of some of those things. right now the equipment that's being used is the very best, is as good as it's ever been. Doctors and trainers are more knowledgeable. You're teaching better tackling techniques. Kids aren't practicing in pads as much as they used to. I know they banned 2-a-days and
Mm-hmm.
3-a-days and some of the things we had when we were back playing. But at the end of the day, when you go in between those lines, it's still going to be a game, and those risks are still all going to be there.
And what do you say to the parents who their kid is saying, "Mom, I want to play football," but the parent, they're like, "I don't know. I don't think it's safe. I don't know." How are you selling playing football to these parents
I
now?
don't sell it to them. It's not for everybody, and if they don't want their kid to play, then they shouldn't. I don't believe in trying to convince people to do things that they don't want to do. And I have 3 sons of my own, and I make whatever decision I think is best for them. If you don't feel comfortable with it, then you shouldn't mess with it, because it is a dangerous game.
Yeah, definitely feel that. And as much as Goodell try to tweak these rules, like you said, you signed up
Yeah,
a physical, what they call violent sport.
yeah, you signed up
It
for it.
is what it is. You can't try to make it be flat football.
No, you just nothing you can. It's nothing I can do. If some of them guys out there chasing you, it's nothing I can do.
Right.
So I think that maybe some of those concerns are legitimate. Some of them may not be, but at the end of the day, you have to make whatever choice you think is best for you.
Uh, Tell us about your upcoming football team.
We got a good team coming back. We have some really good players returning. We got some young guys that'll step up. Obviously, we haven't been getting to work and practice to the level that you usually would be at this point, but we have a lot of veteran leadership coming back, and I expect for those guys to be able to hit the ground running as soon as they can get on the field.
Nice. Definitely look forward to it, Coach. There was a interesting article that I noticed a few months ago, in which I understand that you have teams in your division that you have to play, but then you stated that there may be some teams that are afraid to play your squad. Could you further elaborate on that?
Well, I'm not gonna say the word afraid. They made a decision that they didn't want to play us moving forward. You saw the article. I don't really need to add any fuel or comments to it. What's done is done. We've had 2 conference opponents who no longer wish to play us, and we've moved on from that situation, and we've replaced them with 2 of the very best teams and programs in the country.
And now, just going to ask you about scheduling. How important is it for you to try to schedule as much elite talent or teams uh, as you go through the
Well,
season?
we will play anybody, so we always are looking for the very best competition that we can find, and we've been able to do that and secure some of those games over the years. We've played some great games against some great teams, both out of town and in town, and we've had some incredible rivalries with some of those groups. So we're excited about the teams we're playing and the new relationships we're building going forward with the competition that we have to face.
Nice. Once again, definitely looking forward to hopefully more success for you,
Th-
Coach.
thank you. We appreciate it.
And we was gonna do a coaches minority event with Trey Porter. You're gonna have a lot of the black coaches from different colleges around the area come through. And once again, we've had a few coaches in our past shows who came through and just brought nice, strong messages. We had Brendan Spain,
Oh,
new head coach from Corner River
man,
football
great
team,
guy, great guy, great
and
coach.
he was just pretty much like, "Hey, whatever happened in the past, that stays back there. It's a new day." So just seeing you along with him, Coach Bethany, and so many other coaches that we've had on the show, these brothers who's been changing the game, making kids' lives better, or pushing the right buttons. Speaking of that, with Trey Poe, I know you know his situation. Um, do you feel that he was out of line for trying to do what's best for his kids?
Well, Trey and I have had several conversations about the situation, and I don't really talk in public because I don't want to say anything that could harm his position and some of the things he's moving forward.
I'll just say this, and it's something that we all discuss, me, B, and Trey on the show. which is pretty much like, look now that you had no choice but to use the Zooms, etc. The same things that he was doing before, he got canned for trying to be there for his kids, but now it's kind of like man relationship with your kids. So it's kind of funny how things end up being at the end. But we do hope for his success future. And
he's going to be successful.
Yeah,
he's a great coach.
Yes, he is.
He's highly educated. He's highly motivated. He's going to find success in whatever he does. And
then I was just definitely impressed with from where he came from a small community that's all about everyone should know everybody's name kind of vibe. And that's what he wanted to bring here. And under this unfortunate situation.
Well, it's not like that here.
Exactly. It's a totally different thing here.
Yeah.
Like, you trying to do what? Oh, hold on, wait a minute.
Right.
But once again, the platform Sports Talk Show, been a great conversation with the coach again. Definitely appreciate you coming through, Coach. Let's go ahead and get right into what you were going to talk about earlier, and that was The Last Dance.
Oh, man. I feel like we need a part 2 now. Just like we need a second series to discuss the first series.
Like 10 more episodes?
Well, I wouldn't even say that many. Like something, just because now everybody is coming out with their reports. There was a report that Scottie Pippen is mad about how he was portrayed. Horace put it in. Oh yeah, Horace is mad. And then somebody was airing out all the dirty laundry. I didn't know that I was no talk anymore.
So
I didn't know that. I was like, oh, that's new to me. But then I read the whole story about it, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that I understand it. I understand it given Mike's nature, and I just want to know why everybody thought that trash talking Michael Jordan would work for would work out in their favor. Specifically, B.J. Armstrong. And well, Horace Grant ain't talk trash. Well, he might have, but she was like, why you do that? That just shows the mentality Mike had. Like, they said that one story was made up, what happened, and it didn't really happen.
The whole LeBradford Smith story.
Yeah, he made that up and then just went off. It's like he wanted to win by any means necessary. And for him, his game, for him to take his athleticism and mold it to a different sport, and then come back from that sport after molding it to that sport, coming back to basketball and then remolding your game again, and then winning 3 more, that is why I say that this man is the greatest of all time. And I would say that if I was or was not a diehard Bulls fan, and, I also got to say, watching that, they had it. And what's crazy is they had it even though it was falling apart. They still had it
and it was
enough to get
of upper management.
Yeah. So, I guess upper management is just the name of the game for the Bulls because we going through it again. But, hey, Jerry Reinsdorf got some work to do.
They're definitely retooling. Your thoughts on The Last Dance?
Well, when you talk about the GOAT, first off, the incredible series, it gave a look behind it. I'm originally from Detroit, so I'm an Isaiah Thomas guy.
Wow.
Detroit basketball. My entire family lives in Detroit, as well as Isaiah Thomas is a guy I've met through the coaching profession. I consider him to be a close friend. So to see him blackballed from the Dream Team, is definitely something that wasn't right. But when you talk about the GOAT, when you talk about the conversation with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James, to me, it's really not a discussion you can have because everybody's finish line is different, right? So people are arguing and debating, but they're debating different things. Like to some people, the championships outweigh everything. To some people, they feel like LeBron had a harder road in the championship games than Jordan did. Some people will say, well, Kobe played with Shaq. So the finish line is going to always be moved. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of my era, in my time growing up, watching basketball. A lot of the guys that are having this debate have never seen Jordan play basketball. So it's not a fair thing to say. If you're talking rings, people are going to say, You got to look at Bill Russell. You got to look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was arguably the best college player to ever play, and maybe the best pro that has ever played. So it's a lot of factors that go into it. I think when you think about documentaries, you start to talk about, they say Scotty's mad and Horace mad. Well, that was a more personality conflicts,
Right.
and how you feel about
That
somebody
shouldn't
as a
have
human
anything to
being.
do with him being the
You
GOAT.
know, you could, winning and being a good person don't necessarily go hand in hand, right? And they Kobe Bryant had the saying, friends come and go, but banners hang forever. And so Michael Jordan definitely hung some banners up. It's easy. It's easier to get into LeBron James for people because LeBron James is being an advocate for social issues that are affecting us. And so it's easy for people to get behind him. So I think that it was a great documentary, and I don't think the debate will ever end on who the best basketball player in the world is. But to me, it's a silly discussion to even entertain.
Yeah, and just seeing from my point of view how Jordan was, I think a lot of people are trying to use how he treated people to determine if he should still be considered the greatest. He just saw what he did. It's there.
I don't think
He stated before everyone saw the documentary. You may think differently about me. It is what it is. But he showed you the reason why he is what he is, because he did what it had to take to win. That's why he got into the game. He's a winner.
Well, what happens?
And it's not about, you feel outside the court, or if you're cool with best friends. Now, once we get in them white lines, once you lace them up, it's about let's get these guys in a position to win. LeBron may have a different method on getting the team together, coming together to win. He may have the other person be better, whatever. Jordan, he had a certain way and certain will to get them guys to play to the play. Yeah, he may have been the guy who wanted to score all the shots or have all the points. Unlike LeBron's like what, top 5 now in scoring. Jordan was.
But here's what people don't know too. You don't know how LeBron treats his teammates.
Right.
You won't know that till the LeBron documentary
Right.
comes out and you hear what they have to say. You don't know what he's saying to them and how he's treating them. What people don't realize is that you don't have to like each other to be champions.
Exactly.
Like even when that's one of the problems that a lot of people have. You go to work and you don't like somebody, so you prevent it from getting your job done.
Right.
Or people think that that friendship has to be at the epicenter of everything, and it doesn't. It's okay to not be friends and still do great business together. It's okay to not be friends and not do any business together. Like, it's okay to not like people if you don't like them.
Preach.
Right? It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with that. We have a thing where everybody wants you to get along and like everybody, and that's just not possible. Business decisions have to get made. People have to do certain things in life, and sometimes Michael Jordan, one of his best friends is Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley had to get traded for him to win a championship. That's it. What if you guys had this incredible show? What if a sponsor comes and offers you $1 million, but they only want him, or they only want you, right? Then you got a decision that's got to be made.
I mean, if they only want me,
Right.
that's a great decision.
There you go.
But all of those things come into play in business, and you just have to be able to live with those things.
Yeah, and how sensitive are people nowadays compared to? I think that's one of the biggest issues. Also, is that once people saw this documentary, I think there's a lot of people are just so sensitive now.
But here's a misconception. People have always been sensitive. People like this whole notion that everybody back then was so mentally tough and mentally
Right.
strong, and everybody now is so weak and sensitive. People were weak and sensitive then.
Shoot.
It's only a few. You only gonna meet a few people in life that really have a lot of mental toughness. And when we talk about toughness, we're not talking about fighting, because there's no money in fighting unless
Right.
you Mike Tyson.
Right.
There's no way to get paid. Is that you have the mental toughness to go through whatever you have to go through to find success. And a lot of people don't have that, and they didn't have it then, and they don't have it now. And so I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions, that all of these guys in the 70s and the 80s, they were just these monsters and they were so tough, and everybody now is so afraid. That's just not true.
Yeah, and Horace Grant being one of those guys in his feelings, and as you talked about, we talked about earlier, how he trying to put him on blast. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't have had the success that you had during that time if you didn't play alongside Michael Jordan.
Well, I don't think that Horace was saying. I don't think Horace had an issue with what was happening in terms of how the team was ran. I think Horace would recognize that. I think he's smart enough to know that he won championships because he played with Jordan. I think his issue was that Michael Jordan said that he did something he's saying he didn't do, which is leak some media stuff to the book, and that's more what Horace is addressing. He's not addressing the stuff that happened on the team as much as he's addressing what Michael Jordan said he leaked, and then it came out later that Michael Jordan, in fact, was a person who leaked a lot of information and who said a lot of talk. So Horace was protecting his integrity, than anything else.
Now he did mention when Jordan brought up the hotel fiasco, like he had to say all that, he had to put it out there, and da da da. But this is part of a documentary that he was breaking down what he experienced when he first got to the Bulls, and how before he got on that team, they were losers pretty much. So it all had to fit into that story. So that's the reason why Jordan brought it up, because it was part of the story of how he came along and changed the narrative during that time of being a Chicago Bull, and how after he left, you got people like Stanton, like, man, this organization isn't what it used to be. So it's part of the story. So yeah, your point in regards to he shouldn't have been targeted about, hey, I got this from Horace Grant. But he also tried to defend his teammates as well, saying you had to put Scotty out there like you did, or how the documentary did. Documentary did.
One of the biggest wastes of time in life is to worry about how somebody else handles a situation.
Right.
Right. It's just a waste of your time. You can't control anybody.
Right.
You can't even control your kids. Right. You can sit down and have a conversation with your kids and say, you better not do this when you go to school, and by 9 o'clock the teacher's calling you and your son or daughter did exactly what you said they better not do. You can't control human beings. So you shouldn't be in a situation where you're trying to dictate who says what and who does what. You can only control yourself. So it's a waste of time. It was Jordan's documentary. He had the rights to it, and it was going to be, the story was going to be told the way that he wanted to tell it. And that's and if he lost some friends for that, then he lost them.
And he's not gonna worry about
it. And he can live with that. Yeah. Some people can.
Yeah, I mean, like you said on the documentary, like, hey, sometimes being the leader, you're gonna take, you may lose some friends or whatever.
You're going to. Yeah. Anytime you're in a position of leadership, you're gonna lose some people along the way. You might lose a lot of people. It comes with it because of what it takes to be the very best that you can be.
It is right there. Speaking from a champion.
And I truly don't fault Mike for anything. He was giving the explanation. I was like, he did what he had to do to win.
Yeah. That's like it says.
Y'all wasn't complaining about it. Well, they were complaining about it then, but they weren't complaining when they were winning. So it's like, what's up?
Do you feel that Jordan would have, if the management didn't get in the way, that they would have went on for a 7th, or was that team done? Because I feel like as long as
he
Jordan,
said it. He said, yeah.
I feel as long as Jordan was going to be on that team along with Phil Jackson, that
they were going to go for however many they can
he's
get.
a type that he doesn't want to be forced out. He wants to, hey, if you beat me, you're the better team. It's time for me to go. He had the kind of mentality. He didn't want, things to end how it ended. But do you really feel he could have pulled back Pippen, who was going through a bad back injury, and pull these other guys back in for one more run?
Those are all hypothetical situations. I mean, you just don't know. But one thing about it is, one of the reasons that he's widely considered the GOAT is because the team did break up and they went out on top. What would the narrative be if they would have went back and lost, right? And they were a step too slow or a little too old. And do you realize 8 years in a row, 6 championships, and then the other 2 times Eastern Conference Finals. That's a lot of games.
It is.
And so and the wear and tear and the management thinking those guys were old. It's no guarantee. The Rockets were coming. They had some success. It was Utah was right there. He might have won it again because he might, but you also could have lost. And then if you lose, like you can't have it both ways. If you would have lost, then the thoughts would be a little different.
Yeah, it was.
It's like if you lose, there's no 6-0. He's 6-0.
Right.
Ain't lost once.
And never got to a game 7.
Never.
Crazy.
He ain't never needed.
Who you think? Whose story do you believe most in regards to the food poisoning game, not the flu game?
I don't know, but either way, brother wasn't feeling well and he still balled out. That's toughness. Like, the symptoms parallel both. We'll never know what it is. It could have been the food poisoning flu. Who knows? Whoever made the food could have sneezed on it, had the flu. Bow.
The whole 5 people thing, that was that was pretty interesting. But like you said, hey, it doesn't matter how it happened. He still played, and that's just the mindset of a winner. In my book, the
and he didn't push off.
Oh no, he didn't. No,
can we put that to bed?
Right, the momentum of Brian.
There was no push
Russell
off.
Was already there. Jordan just guided him along. Like, here you go, underlay. It was a great moment, man.
And I got one question for you, Coach. All right, so given that we now know the true intent of why Mike and Isaiah don't like each other, do you? It's like with him not being on the dream team. It's like who's like more to blame for that happening? Because it just came out recently that apparently Mike said I'm not playing if he's on the team, but at the same time it was documented in the episode about it that he had a problem with every single person or majority of the people on that team.
It's personal,
and we over here like someone put it in the best way on Facebook. It was like, we're not about to take a 3-week vacation with somebody we don't like.
Well, at the end of the day, the only thing Isaiah could have done for them to like him is let them beat him. And he's a champion, and he's one of the great. They didn't like him because of his tenacity, because of his toughness, and because of his own will to win and the way he played the game. He beat a lot of people, and he let them know he beat them. So there was a lot of things there. What could he have done to make people like him? He could have lost. Like, you got to realize all the guys that played on the dream team weren't champions, And so what could he have done to make some of those guys like him or have ingratiated himself to them a little more? When you beat people, man, they don't like it. And when they can beat you, you tend to get along with everybody. Everybody likes Karl Malone, right? And
everybody loves Chuck.
Everybody loves him. They didn't beat anybody. But they hate Mike. They don't like Mike. They don't like Isaiah Thomas. It's just something that goes along with winning, and the way they won with the brand of basketball they played, it rubbed people wrong.
And just to add on, the USA. Who selected that team, they didn't feel that Isaiah Thomas was marketable because of how he played.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, one thing you got to understand in life, everybody has a own opinion. And if you don't like somebody, you don't have to work with them. Like, I can choose not to work with somebody if I don't like them. And they can say, well, that's not right or this, whatever. It's how I feel. Somebody can choose not to work with me if they don't like me. That's fine. That's life.
And then the last thing, the walk off with the sportsmanship. I watched it, and I get where Mike was coming from, and I understand Isaiah's reasoning. But then when Mike said he had time to think about this and say that, I believe that too. But then at the same time, I truly don't fully fault Isaiah Thomas because it came out in the documentary that it was Lambier's idea. Like, we not shaking their hands. Like they were like Lambeer said that, and Isaiah was like, all right, bet. So they're both at fault, but you know how it is in school. It's not the person who did it first. It's always the second person that's more at fault.
Or the most popular person,
Right.
That too.
Which it was Isaiah's team, but Bill Lambier was an enforcer on that team. Listen, I'm one of those guys who doesn't need to debate about how people feel, right? Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas don't like each other.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's fine. Who cares? They both Hall of Famers. They both have more money than they'll ever spend, right? They competed against each other. Isaiah beat him most of the time. Jordan got him in the end as Jordan was going. It really doesn't matter. They don't have to be friends. I respect them both as champions and both as all-time greats. But you don't have to be friends with people. Like, everybody needs to understand that. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to get along. You don't have to be cool. You can just win and stay in your lane and not worry about what's going on in the next lane. Isaiah Thomas was worrying about the lane in Detroit. All right? And because of that, he didn't get to play on the dream team, and that's life. Mm-hmm. They went against him. He's got to live with that, and he's living fine.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas is sleeping well.
He ain't tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely hope that y'all have been enjoying this show, and that we just discussed The Last Dance was definitely incredible. Hope to have something again like. Definitely gonna have one with LeBron.
Kobe?
I know
Come on now. They said he had the crew with him.
About to get to it. Slow your roll.
I don't think I'm ready for it.
Yeah, all right.
I'm gonna need at least 2 more years.
Well, I mean, you say think about it. The documentary started in '96, so it's gonna take a long time to follow the Jordan documentary. They started that thing in '96.
Oh no, but they did Kobe. They did it for his last season.
Right, I'm talking about doing something similar like they did with Jordan.
Yeah, it'd probably be LeBron.
Yeah, so it'll be a minute, but I look forward to it. I posted
Well,
earlier
we
on our
already
page.
kind of had it with LeBron with the series he did. More than an athlete.
But yeah, it doesn't compare.
Well,
it takes time, but look forward to it. That they did say that there's a writer now who's working on a Kobe book, so that should be pretty interesting. But just look forward to more docuseries. They talk about doing a 30 for 30, or matter of fact, I think they already did it, but they're going to put it out there for Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
They just did the one for Lance Armstrong too.
Yeah, I got to check that out too. So,
and then they got Tom Brady's coming up.
Do you follow any basketball and football?
Not much. I really stay in the lane. I don't really follow a lot of basketball and football. I just really follow my own team, and kind of stay focused on that.
Right.
You gotta stay focused on your job. And in the minute you become a fan of other things, it just kind of takes away from your focus on what you're trying to do.
Is that what you're preaching to your team as well?
No, they're kids. They don't have the same concerns that I have, and so they have a little more flexibility to do some other things and focus on some other things. But my job is to make sure that we don't miss a beat.
How do you feel about players playing multiple sports?
I prefer that they do. They have to run track. I had several guys play basketball and things like that. It's just that's their deal. It's up to them. I don't get in the way of it. We got Dink Jones is our basketball coach. He's a legendary coach. He does a great job. He's a champion also. And I think that the kids benefit from his leadership and his style as well.
We've asked this question to previous coaches. With so much going on with, like you said earlier, social media, the pressures of being a young black man nowadays, the peer pressure, being around others, just the state of being around the youth nowadays, is a different approach that you have to take now with so much pressure that can happen with these kids?
Well, peer pressure is something you should never succumb to. you have to be able, first and foremost, to chase your goals and your dreams and the things that are important to you. And you if you encounter any type of peer pressure, you should drop those people immediately out of your circle. You should get rid of anybody who's trying to prevent you from doing what you know is the right thing. If anybody that's asking you to not do the right thing, they're not your friend and they don't care about you. And you have to be able to understand that. In terms of the everyday pressure of just living in this city and living in most cities and the things that you have to overcome, that's going to be enough, right? Like, that's going to be enough. Like, you shouldn't have about the people that are around you. And if you get anybody around you that you feel like doesn't have your best interest, you should get them away from you immediately.
So going back to your time with Stanton, when you saw him, what were your thoughts?
Hey, bro.
I gotta know.
I ain't gotta know. Y'all can talk about that.
In all honesty, I think that everybody can have some type of contribution to the team. And I thought that if he would have stuck with it, you never know what could have happened with him. But he wasn't willing to do it. And that's okay. He turned out to be successful in his own right.
Found my niche.
But yeah, he found his niche. He could have done something with it though. But it's still just a choice. Like, that's all life is, man. It's choices.
Yeah.
And it's like I tell my kids all the time, you just have to be able to live with whatever choice you make. And if you can live with it, then that's fine.
There it is, y'all. Words from the 2019 Class 2 Missouri State Champs, Lutheran North High School Crusaders. Coach Carl Reed Jr. Thanks so much again for being part of the show, Coach.
No problem.
We do have one more segment, which is the final say. This is whatever you feel like getting out before the show ends. It could be sports related or non-sports related, but just to get your word out there to the people. So did you want to go ahead and go first?
Well, number one, guys, thanks for having me on here. I just want, if anything that, or any kid, any parent is listening, I just want everybody to know how much you need to focus on academics. So many guys miss opportunities. They don't take care of their responsibilities, and those opportunities shrink and shrink. Whether you're an athlete or whether you try something else, right now you have to keep your education in the forefront. Also, stay away from any kind of peer pressure and violence and things like that that can land you in trouble. Being a tough guy is overrated, and it's not a skill that you can use in life, and it does more harm than good. Use your brain, use your smarts, use your books, and keep working.
There it is. Stan? Take your time, brother.
I truly didn't think that anything, during this time period could just be like, man, what else could happen? Well, Monday night going into yesterday, what else happened? We're dealing with another cop involved killing of an unarmed black man who they pulled him over for what? Forgery charges? For that the mayor said it best. That didn't deserve what happened. I truly don't feel like talking about it because from past experiences and from what you can see from this reoccurring trend, talking does. So the time for talk is over. That action needs to be taken, and I'm not saying go out there and do violent things, but I'm just saying like things. We can't keep dealing with this in this decade. That should have been nipped in the bud in the 2010s, but it wasn't. So now we got to figure out what has to be done for this to stop. And also, to the people in St. Louis, it was the weekend. It was this weekend after everything was officially open. The businesses started opening, where there were the 16 people who were shot, 4 of which did not make it. I drove past one at the BP on Broadway. I saw what I saw, and I really wish I didn't see it. But what's sad about it is when I saw it, it truly didn't faze me as much as I thought it should have. So for it to be a norm here in my city, yes, we are outraged about the cops killing us, but also, and I know you all hate to hear it from other races, so hear it from me. We also have to focus on stop killing each other. Because if we're doing it, then they're not going to take us serious when we say, well, y'all can't do it. We have to practice what we preach to be heard and be received. We got to do better. In whatever way you can, just day by day, little by little, work on making yourself better. Just be great, like you're supposed to be. I love y'all.
I'm just add on, as I stated yesterday in my video, just appreciate every time you have. No matter where you're going, if you're leaving the house, leaving from work or whatever, don't leave out on a bad note, because you never know during these times.
Which is sad.
You just never know. So appreciate every moment that you have, and we appreciate everyone for tuning in to our show this evening. Once again, having you on the show, Coach. Thank you very much for bringing your knowledge, your wisdom. I can definitely tell just from the conversation that your team is going to always be prepared for any battle. It don't matter if it's an XFL team, college, NFL, high school, they're going to be ready. So
German Football League. Shout out Tyler Davis, class of 2009 from UC. That boy was a beast over there.
Tyler Davis, also my frat brother, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity.
That's what throws me off. How I find out all this collegiate stuff after high school. It's like it was never promoted at the school. Granted, you gotta wear city stuff, but still, it's like no wristbands, no nothing. And then it just comes out. I saw you had the face mask. I was like, dang.
Man, hey, if you would have kept getting them callus on your fingers, you never know.
There it is.
That path was predestined for me before I even got to college.
He saw the right on the wall. It's a microphone right over here. Yeah. But with that being
no, we're not talking about that. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So once again, this is your Wednesday night sports tonight. Next week we will have a offensive line coach from Trinity High School. My boy Dwight, call him DJ Whitfield. He'll be on the show.
One of the very best line coaches out there. That'll be a treat for everybody. DJ Whitfield, an amazing lineman himself, and one of the very best teachers of that position that you can find in the game right now.
There, see, he sold it right there. So with that being said, excuse me. With that being said, stay tuned.
Good, brother?
Right, I hope I am. But stay tuned next week. Once again on Instagram, like us, follow us at Platform Sports Talk.
Yep.
On Twitter, I know y'all see some of y'all watching right now. Like and retweet. Follow us. YouTube, subscribe, click on that.
Yep.
Because anytime we go live,
you will be notified.
And on Facebook, keep on sharing, y'all. It's the Platform Sports Talk Show. Your boy Smooth.
And I'm Stanton, baby.
Special guest,
Coach Carl Reed.
When it's about sports,
it becomes our business. Business just picked up.
Y'all have a good one, and we are out.